evening, everyone. Let me get to the right page here.
Microphone, Mark.
All right, got to get to the right agenda. All right, welcome to this Board of Supervisors conditional use hearing. So at this point, I guess I would like to turn it over to our solicitor, James Sanders, to read the rules.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, James Sanders, solicitor for Springettsbury Township. Tonight we are here for a conditional use hearing. Sheets Inc., the applicant, is the long-term tenant of an approximately 1.89 acre property situated at 405 Memory Lane, East York, Pennsylvania. The property consists of a one tax parcel, which is owned by Robert Kronheim, Donald Vinnick, and Ruth Friedlander, and the estate of Ruth C. Sampson, care of Suburban Associates, Kronheim Management Services, Inc. The property is located at the northeast corner of the intersection of Memory Lane and Industrial Highway. The property is located in the Springettsbury Township Flexible Development District pursuant to the township's zoning ordinance. The property has been used as a Sheetz convenience store with fueling pumps, canopies, and associated site improvements since on or about 1996. Sheetz desires to redevelop the property with an upgraded Sheetz store. This project will include a rebuild of the existing store building, a removal of the existing fuel canopies to be replaced with a single fuel canopy fronting along Industrial Highway, a reconfiguration of the internal drive aisles and parking to improve site circulation, and the installation of a mobile pickup window. Both the existing use and proposed use of the property for automobile service station and neighborhood convenience store are conforming uses within the Flexible Development District. However, as the property is also subject to the town center overlay provisions of Article 33 of the ordinance, these provisions adopted by the township in 2010 require that any development of uses permitted by right in the underlying Flexible Development District must receive conditional use approval from the Township Board of Supervisors. Accordingly, applicant filed this application for conditional use approval for the proposed redevelopment. Further, the applicant has identified certain town center overlay design standards that require modifications to allow for the project. And the applicant is requesting conditional use approval of those modifications tonight. What I'm going to do now is turn it over to Mr. Heilman, Director of Community Development, to provide more details if needed on the project. Also highlight the hearing notice dates and the dates and submissions that have been received from the applicant and other parties before I walk through the procedural aspects of the hearing. Mr. Heilman.
Good evening to the Board of Supervisors and folks in the audience. This particular public hearing was advertised in the York newspapers, and it appeared on July 9th, 2026 and July 16th, 2026 in accordance with the Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code. Yes, this project has gone through the Planning Commission. They received a recommendation of approval for the project itself, as well as recommended approval for the 6 modification waivers that the applicant requested. I've produced a case summary for the Board of Supervisors that illustrates the project as basically described by the Solicitor Sanders. And we do have a representative for Sheetz tonight, the consultant. I don't know if the attorney's here without turning around, but with that said, that's where we stand in regard to the project. As Mr. Sanders indicated, this is a real rebuild of the Sheetz store that is currently at 405 in Memory Lane. So with that said, I'm going to turn it back over to Solicitor Sanders.
Okay, and just to confirm, the Planning Commission decision date was June 18th, 2026, for your case summary here.
Bear with me one second.
Yep.
That is correct.
Okay, and the submission date was April 16th, 2026?
That is correct as
Okay.
well.
Okay, great. Okay, applicant, procedurally, the applicant will put forth their evidence and witnesses this evening. After the applicant is done questioning any of their witnesses, the board or any objector may cross-examine each witness. After the applicant rests their case, any objector may put on their case against the conditional use application. Any witness and objector questions may be cross-examined by the board or by the applicant. After the objectors rest their case, the board may have some follow-up questions for the applicant, and then we will move to public comment. After public comment, the board may deliberate before making a decision. Before we get started, I would like to ask if anyone seeks party opponent or objector status in the audience. Okay,
Do we ask for anybody to raise hand that's on Zoom as well?
yes. Gotta remember the digital.
Anybody in the meeting that is an objector, please click your raise hand button to be recognized. Seeing none,
Okay.
forward.
If we could have the applicant come up to the podium, please. Do you have any witnesses for this evening?
Yes, we do. Justin Kuhn from Integrated.
I'll swear you in, Mr. Kuhn. Mr. Kuhn, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in tonight's proceedings? Okay, thank you very much. The floor is yours, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Sanders. Ambrose Hines, I'm an attorney from Stevens and Lee on behalf of the applicant Sheets, Inc. Sheets is the lessee of the property at 405 Memory Lane. Site area is 1.89 acres. There's an existing sheet store there, as we all know. It's Zone Flexible Development District, Town Center overlay. The use of the store and the proposed rebuild that's going on here is a permitted use in the Flexible Development District under the township's ordinance. All development within the town center overlay requires a conditional use approval for the redevelopment, which is the first request that's on the issue today. The project involves a redevelopment of that existing store with a new building, essentially a site scrape, new gas pumps located along Memory Lane, removal of the existing pump, located along Industrial Drive, removal of the existing pump island and canopy that would be along the frontage of Memory Lane. There's going to be reconfiguration of on-site parking, relocation of the dumpster pads, et cetera. As part of that redevelopment and the conditional use under the town center, there are certain design requirements related to the town center that we also need to meet, including areas of screening for service and loading areas as to the rear and side of the building, parking facilities, storage, parking and display in the front yard setback, a public plaza requirement, and the existing relocation of the existing pole sign that's on the site. Under the township's ordinance, those modifications of the ordinance can be achieved through a waiver by conditional use, which leads to the second aspect of this application that's with you tonight. So with that, I have a set of packets for each of you with the exhibits. I like to do this just so we have a thorough record more than anything. And as we go through with my witness, we can go through this relatively quickly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Hines, do you have a digital version of that you can share then, or?
I can provide one for after the meeting, but I'll
Yep.
have it.
Yep. Thank you.
most of these exhibits are already in the record through submissions to the township, so there's nothing that's different here than what's being shown on the,
Are these in our
the screen.
packet? On the,
The answer is what you were just received in paper copy. The answer is no, but I provided you with all the documentation that I had available to me for your packet.
Yeah. So none of the exhibits that I've presented here for the purposes of the record are different than anything that had already been submitted to Mr. Heilman and then provided to you, I assume, through the packet. So, Mr. Kuhn, if you could come up here, we can go through this. You're going to have to speak into the microphone.
Sure.
Okay, can you just introduce yourself and your employment?
Justin Kuhn, Managing Partner, Integrated Consulting,
And what is your position with the Integrated Consultant?
and the founding member and owner and Managing Partner.
And were you involved in the design of this project?
I was.
And how many sheets projects have you worked on?
I don't know the exact, over 50.
Okay, excellent. And I'm just going to identify for you Exhibit A1. Is it a copy of your resume?
Yes.
Thank you. And I just would ask that Mr. Kuhn be confirmed as an expert in land development and project management and design.
Okay.
Thank you.
do-
Excuse me.
does it say that in here, and do you have a PMP or any other credential that says that you are?
Sure. If you want to just, your credentials.
Oh, I'm a registered professional engineer in Pennsylvania.
All right, fine.
I think that's what you were asking.
Well, you said project management expert, so that's usually controlled by project management organization, and it would be called a project management professional.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Well, we could just limit it to expert in land development and
Fine,
project design.
that's good.
Thank you. So are you familiar with the site in question?
Yes, I am.
And can you just describe the application that was submitted? Is that identified as Exhibit A2?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And that application requests conditional use approval for the development and also for the requested modifications?
That's correct.
Okay. And has that application been revised through a subsequent submission that's identified as Exhibit A3?
Yes, it has.
And what was the nature of that revision?
Yeah, the latest revision was we were able to relocate, I'm sorry.
But I'm speaking about the
Oh,
specific
sorry.
Narrative attachment revised. What was revised as to that narrative attachment?
I'm sorry, I got off track. We added the sign modification.
The request for the sign.
Request for the pole sign, correct.
Thank you. And that wasn't included in the initial application?
That is correct.
Okay. And the record owner of the property is not Sheets, is that correct?
That is correct.
So Sheets is a lessee of the property?
Correct.
And was a copy of the existing lease with the record owner included as part of the initial application in A2?
Yes, it was.
And under the lease and as shown on the plan, what is the size of the proposed site development, acreage-wise?
Yeah, double check. I don't have it at the tip of my tongue. 1.3488 acres.
Okay, thank you. And the proposed, the existing conditions, can you just describe what we're seeing on the existing conditions plan that's identified as Exhibit A3?
Yes, that's showing.
I'm sorry, A4, sorry, apologize.
Sure. Showing the current Sheets configuration at the corner of Industrial and Memory Lane. It's got two fueling canopies, parking and associated store that was built in around 1996 with dumpster enclosure and utilities.
Okay, and what was the current size of the existing store?
It's a little over 4,000 square feet.
And there's parking on that existing conditions plan. Where's the parking located in relation to the store?
Yeah, the parking is located generally directly abutting the store. Then there's some spaces to the east as you first come in off of Industrial. And then there's some diagonal spaces that directly face into the intersection of Industrial and Memory Lane.
And are there other existing conditions related to the property that the board should be aware of in consideration of the conditional use request, specifically with respect to the right-of-way along Memory Lane?
Yeah, the Memory Lane actually has ultimate PennDOT right-of-way, which the roadway's located in. And then sometime after that, the township, 10 feet was dedicated to the township, in which a portion of the sidewalk resides in, but not the roadway.
Okay, so there's a PennDOT right-of-way, and how big is that PennDOT right-of-way?
Ultimate is 70 feet if we're just looking at PennDOT.
Okay, and then there's an additional 10 feet adjacent to the site along Memory Lane.
For-
That is township right?
Yes, which would make it a total of 80.
And what about the other condition along Industrial Lane? Are there any other site conditions that the board should be aware of?
There's a floodplain along Memory Lane, and also there's an electric line that runs down Memory Lane as well.
Yeah. And where's that floodplain reflected on the plan there?
It is the dark dashed line that kind of looks squiggly across the site. It comes through the driveway at Industrial, through the site, and then comes back about a third of the way on Memory Lane.
Okay. So that's that squiggly line
Yeah, it's
south of that.
the
would be-
darkest, thickest line on there.
So south of that would be the floodplain?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, now we're moving on to Exhibit A4. Can you just describe A4 for us? That's, all right, I got the numbers mixed up again. A5.
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 A5 is the proposed sheets layout. We're condensed down to one fueling canopy, access points in the exact same location as they are today. The store is set further back from the street and actually occupies a portion of the site that it's within the lease area, but was currently being used by Jack Giambalvo.
Okay. And the nature of the use that's being proposed versus what's existing?
Same use, store, I'm sorry,
If you want to just,
gas station, mini market, and proposed use neighborhood convenience store and gasoline sales.
so that would be what it'd be considered today under the current.
Within the current zoning, yes.
Yeah. And is that use permitted by right in the FD district?
It is.
Okay. And, ooh, how big is the new proposed store?
It is 6139. The existing store is about 4,800 square feet.
Let me just grab this real quick.
Okay.
Make sure I don't lose my spot. The town center overlay requirement for conditional use, what's the nature of that requirement?
We would be required due to the redevelopment.
Okay,
of the
because it's a
site.
development.
Correct.
It requires conditional use.
Right.
All right, thank you. And is the use that's proposed consistent with the township comprehensive plan for this location?
Yes, it is.
And is the proposed store consistent with the conditional use design standards for development within the town center, other than those that we've requested waivers or
That-
modifications for?
That's correct.
And is that identified anywhere on the plan?
Yes, there are tables along the right side of the plan.
And that indicates where there are existing conditions, or existing nonconformities, and/or requested modifications?
Correct.
And are those indicated in a particular color on the,
They're in red.
okay, shown in red? Thank
Yes.
you. Just can you describe a couple of the, in terms of the parking, how many spaces are going to be provided versus how many are currently there?
Yeah, today there are 37 standard parking spaces with 12 spaces at pumps. Proposed will be 42 standard parking, also with 12 spaces located at the pumps for a net increase in parking.
Okay. Well, is it the net increase in parking, or is it a net increase in the designated parking space?
Well, yes, in the designated parking spaces.
So the total number, if you included all the spaces at the pumps, would be what?
If you, there was 80 today, 81 today, there's 80 proposed if you include the stacking spaces.
Okay. And would the proposal comply with the required off-street parking requirement?
Yes, we need 52.
Okay. The existing access drives and access points, how are those going to be addressed on the new plan?
They're exactly the same place. We will be replacing them up until the right-of-way line.
Okay, let's talk about the existing, the specific design requirements for the town center. We had provided some elevations to demonstrate compliance with the design requirements for the building. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And is that identified as the Exhibit A6?
Yes, it is.
And just describe what's being shown on that exhibit.
Yeah, this is the elevation of the sheet store, most importantly, the glazing requirements.
Okay.
The windows.
And so which of these elevations would be facing which street?
So the, hold on. Make sure we got it correct. So the upper one would be facing industrial, and the one towards the bottom would be facing memory lane.
And the proposed glazing shown, would that meet the requirement for the glazing that's required under the town center?
It does. They actually have it's spelled out in a table in the plan.
Okay, thank you. And at the direction, did this plan go before the planning commission for comment and consideration?
Yes, it did.
Okay, and at their direction, were there any revisions that were made to the layout from the one that was initially submitted with the application?
Yeah, the main change was moving the one unloading space actually to the rear of the building was the major change.
Okay, and were there any other requirements that were added to, for example, landscaping?
Yes, street
and-
trees, bench.
Wait,
Go ahead.
Were there any additions to the landscaping and/or other requirements that were changed as a part of that revised plan submission?
Yes, we added street trees, benches, so forth to meet the streetscape requirements. Lighting,
Lighting standards?
yes, street lighting.
So all of those requirements have now been met, and we're just talking about the specific request for relief from the design requirements of the town center overlay. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so let's go through each of those specific requests. The first I have is for section, for shorthand, we'll call it 200B2. Can you just describe what the requirement is and what the request is?
Yeah, service and loading areas screened from the street and pedestrian ways. So we have a loading space. The one loading space was relocated to the rear so that is no longer an issue. But we still have an unloading area for the actual fuel trucks.
And where's that located? If you go back to the site plan exhibit. Yeah. So where
That-
would that fuel truck?
As soon as you come in off Industrial, the fuel tanks are just to the left. So the trucks will be pulling in between the parking and the canopy for the unloading of fuel.
And so that would not be screened from the right-of-way or pedestrian ways?
Correct, correct.
So that's the nature of that waiver?
That's right.
And you mentioned the other loading area had been relocated on this revised plan. Where has it been?
It is relocated to the rear of the building, just next to the left of the dumpsters.
Okay, and that's is it a crosshatched area?
Yes, a crosshatched area, correct.
Okay, so let's go to the next section, which is related, 200D3. What's the requirement there, and what's the necessary waiver?
Yeah, service and loading areas located on the side or rear of a building. As we talked about, we did relocate the one to the rear, but we're unable to relocate the fueling area just based on where the tanks need to be in relationship to the canopy.
Thank you. And then the section 325, 200G5, can you just talk about the parking facilities and the requirement under that section?
Yeah, parking facilities should only be permitted to the rear or side of a principal use, no parking in the front yard. We have several spaces along Memory Lane that would fall within the front yard. And that's, depending on how you look at the right-of-way, we're outside of it if you looked at the PennDOT right-of-way, but not the township ultimate right-of-way.
Okay, so the additional 10-foot township right-of-way, we are within the front yard setback
Correct.
requirement in relation to that right-of-way?
Yes.
Okay. What's the distance, well, we'll actually get to that with the next section, but why is it that we have to locate the spaces in where they are in relation to this redesign?
It comes down to a lot of the truck circulation up front. You have large trucks coming in, unloading fuel and so forth, specific requirements we need between the curb line and the canopy to make that work is the main reason.
All right.
We're not able to relocate those.
And if you turn to Exhibit A7 in the packet there. Did you perform truck turning diagrams to identify how the truck would move through the site?
Yes, we did.
And is that what's being shown here?
It is,
All right,
correct.
so can you just describe each of those three and what?
Yeah, starting from left to right, the first one's a Sheet's oil tanker turning movement. That would be the actual fuel unloading that, where we need the space between the canopy and the curb. Next one to the right is fire truck turning, where we're showing it coming in off of Industrial and around the rear of the building. And then another fire truck turning template where we show where it will actually fit between the building and the canopy. And again, to make that turn, it pushes the parking over as well.
All right, so now going back again to the site plan, section 325, 200K, that's, what's the nature of that requirement? And
Yeah,
the-
storage, parking, and or display of vehicles in the front yard setback prohibited.
Okay, so that's the setback requirement.
The
that
setback
we're
requirement,
showing.
correct.
So if you could just identify for the board which of the spaces we're talking about are being located within the parking setback along Memory Lane?
Sure, maybe I can let me try this here. There we go. These spaces right along here, and then there's a a space over here on the opposite side of the driveway. There's, I believe, 10 spaces in total.
And what is the closest distance between the spaces located along Memory Lane and the actual PennDOT right-of-way?
If we're looking at the actual PennDOT right-of-way, it would be 12.2 feet.
Okay. And the distance between those parking spaces and the township's additional 10-foot right-of-way that's along that Memory Lane, what's the distance there?
It's 2.2.
So all told, between the curb for the parking areas and the actual, let's say, cartway of Memory Lane, what's the distance that would be?
Yeah, curb to curb is 13.7 feet.
Okay, thank you. For section 325-204, it's requirement, can you just identify what the requirement there is for
Yeah.
public plazas?
Requires a public plaza. It would be pretty,
So a development requires that there be public plaza space provided as part of the development?
that is correct.
Okay. And is there a standard in there about the amount of development that would trigger a certain amount of public plaza space?
I believe it's 15,000 square feet.
And the store here is
6,000,
900 something?
6139.
6139. Sorry,
Yes.
thank you.
I'm sorry, but it's really hard to hear.
Okay, I'll try to speak
I think
louder.
you guys are getting tired, I think.
No, I apologize. I'm too far away from the microphone, and Justin was not speaking into it. Sorry. And the proposal here, we would not have a separate designated public plaza as part of this development.
We would not, although there is public seating outside.
Okay, so there's a seating area,
That's right, on the western side of the building, there's public seating.
all right. And you previously had mentioned that there are proposed benches being proposed also. Is that correct?
Yes, we're meeting the bench standards.
Okay, and where would those benches be located?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
That works. They're located along Industrial and Memory Lane.
Okay, so they're directly adjacent to the sidewalk area then?
That is correct.
Okay. And they would be available for public use.
Correct.
And then the last requested modification was related to the pole sign. It's 200E2, correct?
Correct.
And I've identified it as Exhibit A8, but it's shown up here on the screen, so if you want to just refer to that, can you just describe what's being proposed there?
Yeah. What's shown here is the existing sign versus the proposed sign, and the fact that the proposed sign will be slightly smaller than the existing.
In terms of sign area,
Correct.
what about in terms of height?
Let me just verify before I say it out loud. Yeah, the proposed sign is 25 feet. Or do we have the wrong one in here?
I think I have the wrong exhibit in there.
Yeah, 'cause that
The-
doesn't sound correct.
Yeah, I apologize, that's my fault. The Exhibit A8 is not the correct exhibit. This one that is being shown is.
18 feet.
So both the existing and the proposed would be 18 feet high?
That's correct.
Okay. That's my mistake. Please strike Exhibit A8 that is in the packet. That is the incorrect exhibit. But the area for the proposed sign is slightly smaller than the existing sign?
That's correct.
And will the sign be relocated from where it currently exists?
Yes, it will be.
And that's why we need the modification from the design requirement?
Correct.
Okay, so this is essentially a new sign. It's going to be relocated from its existing spot to a new spot, but it will be basically the same size and slightly smaller in area.
Correct.
Okay. Can you just identify for the board where exactly the existing sign is in relation to the proposed sign? It's, if you look at the A3 as compared to, yeah,
Right down in here is the existing sign.
okay. And if you go to the next,
Proposed sign sits right there.
so it's shifted over several feet.
I'm not sure which part of that icon is touching where the sign is.
Okay.
There's an arrow, there's a hand. Are you doing the
The hand
fingers?
is directly on top of it,
The-
although the
the
hand's
center-
really big compared to
The center of the hand?
Sure.
That's where the new sign will be.
Okay.
So it's shifted slightly closer to the intersection from where the current sign is.
But still inland from the,
Correct.
Yes.
It's in the site, and actually outside of the site triangles. Is that accurate?
That's correct.
And is it outside of the, or sorry, is it,
It's outside the right of way.
yeah, outside the right of way? Is the site triangle for Memory Lane intersection with Industrial Lane indicated on this plan on A5?
It is on A5. It's shown as a red dashed line.
Okay. And the proposed sign location is outside of that site triangle?
Yeah, if you refer to that plan, there's a sign and it's noted as a relocated pole sign.
Thank you. With respect to the standards related to these modifications, do you believe that these modifications still serve the intended purposes of the overlay, even with these modifications?
I do.
And why is that?
I don't see that there would be an adverse impact on adjoining properties.
And does allowing for these modifications allow for the redevelopment of this existing store with a brand-new store?
Yes, it does.
All right, so it allows for a redevelopment of this existing business with a new design.
Correct.
You already mentioned that it wouldn't have any adverse impact on adjacent properties. Would this increase development density in any way with these modifications?
No, it would not.
Does it result in any decrease in the overall public plaza area that would be provided for in a development of this type?
No.
And are the requests modifications that we're proposing tonight the minimum amount necessary to allow for compliance with the other ordinance criteria?
Yes,
Do you have anything else you want to add?
I do.
All right.
I do not.
I don't have any further questions. Questions from the board or solicitor?
Do I understand from your new pylon that you'll be selling gas at $2.28 a gallon?
I hope so, because I'm coming to York to get gas.
So I have a question, I guess.
Sure.
So the renderings that you provided us of the store, exterior renderings, those are required as part of your application?
Correct.
I don't remember.
Well, the requirement was relating to, so these are proposed renderings related to the, what the standard model for the store would be. But the requirement was specifically related to the amount of glazing, the amount of windows facing the public street. So these were provided at the request of the township staff to demonstrate that we would meet those.
So I shouldn't be concerned the fact that it says it's for the new sheet store number XXX on some city and some street somewhere.
No, this is a prototype design for the store.
Okay,
overall.
got it.
Thank you.
Cool. I didn't understand the using Giambalvo land part.
So, the site currently is, and if we go back to the site plan. I'm sorry, the existing conditions plan probably would be better, yeah. So if you look at the existing conditions plan, the existing property and the area that's actually already subject to the Sheets lease includes the area that is being highlighted by Mr. Kuhn. So it actually already includes those areas. Now, the Giambalvo dealership is currently utilizing those areas as part of a parking lot. They have parking there now. So the proposal here would include removing all of that existing parking and then utilizing that to move the store back on the property and allow for that, yeah.
So it was always part of your lease.
Correct.
You let Giambalvo, and now you're taking it.
Correct.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
I think my last item is the pole sign, which frankly, I don't really see a very compelling reason that since the ordinance says there will be no pole signs, why you have to have a pole sign in order to do this.
So the ordinance town overlay includes a requirement that says you may not, or pole signs are prohibited. That's the section of the ordinance. It's only in the town center overlay that they have that requirement. There's an existing pole sign there now. So, conceivably Sheets could tear down the building or rebuild this store and keep the pole sign exactly where it is now, and it would be allowed to remain there as a non-conforming sign. They'd prefer not to do that. They would rather have a new sign in a slightly different location that's the same, effectively the same sign, but they can't simply just pick that existing sign up and move it over 10 feet because, they're structurally, that sign's affixed to the ground. So they're going to replace it with one-to-one. So this is a request for a waiver. It's not a, or sort of modification, I should say. This isn't a variance request. This is simply related to the design requirement that there not be pole signs. So that's the basis for this request, particularly with respect to the sign.
What kind of
Thank you.
sign would you put there if you were going to meet the town center ordinance?
Well, they would have to do, under the town center ordinance, if you can't do a pole sign, the only other option would be to do a monument sign, meaning a sign that is, and that is allowed, I think, in the town center overlay. And in fact, I believe there's one that's like that, a monument low to the ground. It's no taller than, I think, 8 feet off of the ground. They'd have to locate it in a different place. They couldn't put it at the corner because then you're affecting sight lines and it would be problematic at that location.
The current sign doesn't infringe upon the sight lines.
No, because it's sufficiently,
No, in your drawing, those two poles are outside of the line of the triangle for sight lines there. So if you put pylon or put a monument
monument
sign there, you would not be infringing
Yeah.
upon. Just saying. I'm an
certainly.
engineer also.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I didn't notice.
No, and it's obviously there. Yeah, you could do a monument sign that would be at the height of, I think it is 8 feet is the max height. I don't quote me on that because I don't have the ordinance right in front of
I
me.
think they become much wider,
Yeah,
and then you have to relocate it based on the clear site triangle.
yeah.
Fortunately, we have a couple of professionals over here that can tell you exactly how high the monument sign is allowed to be.
John knew that was coming. He was already reaching for his.
No, I saw him reaching.
It's either 6 or 8. It's one of the two.
I think you're right. I just, off the top of my head, I couldn't recall.
Sure. Well, we'll give you the chapter and verse.
200.
The lawyer has it.
Okay,
All right.
tell us.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Sanders.
Monument signs shall not extend more than 6 feet above ground level,
Okay, 6.
except in the case of shopping centers, which may extend 18 feet above ground level. These dimensions supersede dimensions expressed in section 325-107B, subsection 3, subsection C.
Thank you. Yeah, so that would be the alternative. I do know that, and in looking at this, there was a Giant, I think it's the Giant, has a gas monument sign, I don't know, further down Industrial Drive. It's, in my personal opinion, it's not the most attractive thing to have as a gas station, but that it is an option. But the other option would be maybe they keep the one that they have. So that's why the request was for a modification, just to allow them to move that to a better location that fits with their overall layout. Because keeping it in the same spot would require them to revise the layout and affects the truck turning movements, et cetera. So this was the proposal. Justin, if you want to just, if you want to go, if you can go back to the existing conditions plan, Randall, that'd be helpful. Yeah, so if you look at where that sign is currently located, yeah, if you want to point it out to them, because
it's right down there.
why they want to move it to a different spot. So, yeah, so it's located just to the, there's an island that sticks out into the parking area where there's that line of, 5 spaces. And that sign is located at the tip of that island. So leaving it in that location isn't really that much of an option, given the redesign of the parking area and the new configuration of the through traffic. So.
Other questions?
Any other question I had was
Gentlemen, could you comment on, and I didn't do any of the square foot math here, but will this yield a reduction or no change in impervious surface as a result of this redevelopment?
Let me get that for you.
Would that be indicated on your proposed conditions plan there, Justin?
It is. It's not one I have off the top of my head. Currently, it's 73.37% impervious, and proposed is 80%. So it is a net increase in impervious.
But that 80% is still within the requirements.
Yeah, it's still acceptable. That's correct.
Thank you.
Mr. Cox.
Yeah, the only other question I had was on Exhibit 7A. You show the truck turning radius for fire trucks in 2 spots, and the Sheetz tanker turns, but you don't show the Sheetz delivery truck area anywhere. And I understood from your presentation that the Sheetz,
Gentlemen, are there any other?
sorry,
Sheetz
that the Sheetz
designs
delivery
whereby
trucks will
they
actually
may
come to the
be
back of the
reducing
store?
funds?
So they won't be delivering to the front of the store?
The fuel trucks will deliver to the front. The goods deliveries will deliver to the back.
To the back,
Yes.
but it's not shown on this exhibit. Is that correct?
Not the specific delivery truck, but if you follow the fire truck template, it would follow the same thing, and that's actually a larger vehicle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Charles?
Was that exhibit prepared before the most recent revisions to the plan?
It was. It still shows the unloading space along the east side of the site.
Okay.
Charles?
Yeah, gentlemen, do you have any designs whereby there is some sort of use of plantings or some way to reduce your impervious surface of these store rebuilds?
You said a certain type of planting. What was that?
Any designs of a Sheetz store? I mean, you have the outdoor seating, and I see that as kind of like in a concrete area. But is there any designs or anything that Sheetz has that would reduce the impervious of one of your stores on a redevelopment? Maybe the use of certain plantings or other trees or any other sort of landscape design that might yield a reduction in the impervious?
Yeah, I don't think the landscape design itself would. Generally, to reduce it, you have to start reducing parking to reduce impervious to actually get it down.
I think the answer, the question was, does Sheetz have like any sort of prototypical design that reduces impervious coverage?
Oh,
that you're aware of?
I have never seen one. No.
Just a question related to that. On the new plan sign, the area that you're going to be recovering from Jimbalvo, that's currently parking area, there's a large expanse behind the drive aisle behind your store. I'm assuming that's now macadam because they were using it for parking. Could that be dug up and planted with grass and then have less impervious?
We actually are proposing that.
So this is going to be a grass area?
There will be a grass strip between our rear curb line and the lease line against Jack Giambalvo.
Okay, so that area will be,
That area will be reclaimed back into grass. It's just other areas have expanded.
gotcha.
So net, it doesn't increase the total impervious, or sorry, decrease the total impervious.
Gotcha. That was just a
but-
thought.
But there will be a grass strip back there, yes.
That's all I had.
Any other questions? Any discussion? Should we open this up? Well, there's no public here we'll open it up for public comment.
We have
We do have
some
publics.
members of the public here.
Didn't when we started. If there is anyone in the audience that would like to address this plan and speak to the board, please indicate by raising your hand. Anybody on Zoom that would like to comment on this plan, please click the raise hand button. All right. Doesn't appear that we have any.
So I would just move for the admission of my exhibits with the exception of A8.
Got it. Thank you.
And I'll provide a digital copy to you, Mr. Sanders.
So does the board have any other questions before we can move to deliberation?
Any other questions?
Nope.
No. Do we want to move to deliberation, or do we want to hold this until the later meeting?
We have to wait
We
until
have to?
the second meeting. The regular board meeting, it's on the regular board
It's on
meeting
the
for
agenda.
action.
We can have that discussion in the regular board meeting.
Yep.
All right. Then meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. So I would like to call to order the Development Authority meeting. And we have a quorum. Is there any public comment for the Development Authority? All right, seeing none. Approval of minutes.
I'll move to approve the minutes of the Development Authority meeting minutes from February 13th, 2025, and the reorganization meeting minutes January 5th, 2026.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 No resolutions or motions. New business is to acknowledge receipt of Development Authority financial statements for years ending December 31, 2025 and 2024.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And then other new business is discussion on how the Development Authority can be utilized.
I personally think that the suggestions we got from the township manager were all excellent.
Agreed.
So how do we make this known and put it into practice to help with some of the situations that we might find ourselves in with various properties around the community? Do we want to ask administration to take that back for maybe a proposal of some ways that we can find to utilize this more effectively? Sound good?
Sounds real good.
All right. That takes us to the end of our business, so meeting is adjourned. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this regularly scheduled Township Board of Supervisors meeting. Our first item will be a pledge to the flag. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would like to call forward Patrol Officer Jessica Jacoby. It's my honor and privilege to administer your loyalty oath. Is this on?
Hello?
Okay, all right, it's on. So, have you seen this?
Yes,
Okay.
I have. Okay.
If you could raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Jessica Jacoby,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and ordinances of Springettsbury Township,
and ordinances of Springettsbury Township,
and that I will discharge the duties
and that I will discharge the duties
of my office with fidelity.
of my office with fidelity.
I pledge to obey and enforce the law
I pledge to obey and enforce the law
without discrimination
without discrimination
under federal, state, or local laws.
under federal, state, or local laws.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Your turn.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's always a wonderful night for us when we get to bring somebody new on. So we have a little presentation we do as well during this time to remind you of the seriousness of the oath that you just took to the people that live, work, and play in Springettsbury Township. It's called the Springettsbury Badge. I'm going to read it and then I'll present it to you to keep as a reminder. So I'm going to try to do this without glasses. So if you see my arms extending, you know what the purpose is here. The Springettsbury Badge, my lawful appointment and my oath give life and significance to this badge. It is not something that can be earned, it is bestowed. It is a symbol of power and authority granted by law through public trust. It transforms carefully selected community members into guardians whose mandate is to honorably serve and vigilantly protect the community. My acceptance of this badge requires significant commitment, a commitment that requires focus, self-development, honor, courage, and the pursuit of my personal potential. I will honor all that my badge represents for the brief time I am privileged to be entrusted with its care. So, present that with you now.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, if you could come up and just say hello to the board.
Sure.
Congratulations. Thank you. Welcome aboard. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
If I can get this open.
Thank you.
If I could have David Helsel come forward, please. How are you?
I'm getting there. Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
You want me here?
Please.
Okay.
So I have a resolution to read for David for his long time serving on the Springettsbury Township Historic Preservation Committee. So, whereas David Helsel was appointed to the Springettsbury Township Historic Preservation Committee on May 26, 2016, and whereas David served on the Springettsbury Township Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee, and whereas community service is a cornerstone of good citizenship that requires significant time, effort, and responsibility in working toward community goals, and whereas David has shown dedication and persistence in the fulfillment of his duties as a member of the Springettsbury Township Historic Preservation Committee and Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee, and now therefore it be resolved that the Board of Supervisors of Springettsbury Township, on behalf of all the citizens of Springettsbury Township, acknowledge sincere gratitude and appreciation for David Helsel's dedication during his 10 years of public service, adopted this 23rd day of July 2026, signed by the Township Board of Supervisors and attested to by Dory Bowders. Thank you very much for your service. Now I'd like to call forward Paula Musselman. Whereas Paula Musselman was appointed to the Springettsbury Township Planning Commission on January 11th, 2018, and whereas community service is a cornerstone of good citizenship that requires significant time, effort, and responsibility in working toward community goals, and whereas Paula has shown dedication and persistence in the fulfillment of her duties as a member of the Springettsbury Township Planning Commission, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Supervisors of Springettsbury Township, on behalf of all the citizens of Springettsbury Township, acknowledge sincere gratitude and appreciation for Paula Musselman's dedication during her 8 years of public service, adopted this 23rd day of July 2026. Also signed by all of the township supervisors and attested to by Dory Bowders. And I will tell you, I know from firsthand experience the effort that goes into the Planning Commission, and we appreciate your service, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, there have been no executive sessions since our last meeting. So at this point, I would like to open up the floor to communication from citizens. If there is anyone in the audience or anybody on Zoom who would like to address the board, please raise your hand or click the raise hand button and be recognized. All right, seeing none, we will move on to our engineering reports. Diana?
Good evening, gentlemen. I have no updates or changes to the report that was submitted. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
John?
I don't have any additional updates to my report other than I know Dory notarized a right-of-way agreement for Wilshire Drive for us to rebuild that storm pipe up there, which the chairman will sign tonight. So that's it. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions? Thanks, John.
Thank you.
All right, next we have our consent agenda, items A through double Z, A through K. Are there any items that anyone would like to have removed for further discussion?
Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda items A through K as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have bids, proposals, contracts, and agreements. First one is authorization for Township Manager to execute instrument for the declaration of restrictions and covenants for 1501 Mount Zion Road.
This is a formality of us making an agreement with ourselves that we will follow the stormwater ordinance.
Sounds like a good idea. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Next, we have authorization to award bids for 2026 road materials and resurfacing project as outlined in July 13, 2026 memorandum from Public Works Director.
Mr. Chairman, this bid was properly advertised, and I recommend approval.
Any questions?
Move
Wait.
to authorize awarding bids for the 2026 road materials and resurfacing project as outlined in the July 13th, 2026 memorandum from the Public Works Director.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Next, we have authorization to award contract to Able Recon for Eastern Boulevard Storm Sewer Lining / Realignment Project in an amount not to exceed $136,400. CoStar's contract number 041-E23-028.
Mr. Chairman, the storm water pipe that's identified is in poor condition. This is the relining it in lieu of dig and replace is the best method, most economical method, and I recommend approval.
Mr. Chairman, I would move for authorization to award contract to Able Recon for Eastern Boulevard Storm Sewer Lining / Realignment Project in an amount not to exceed $136,400. Excuse me, CoStar contract number 041-E23-028.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have authorization to award contract to Able Recon for Yorkshire Sanitary Sewer Lining and Manhole Rehabilitation Project in an amount not to exceed $425,865.81. CoStar's contract number 016-E23-312.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have authorization to award bid to WK Merriman Incorporated for pulverized quicklime contract for the period August 1, 2026 through July 31, 2031.
Mr. Chairman, this item is required or needed at the wastewater treatment plant and has been properly advertised, and I recommend approval.
Amount wasn't listed on the front page here. Got it. Got it.
Mr. Chairman, I would move for authorization to award bid to WK Merriman, Inc. for pulverized quicklime contract for the period August 1st, 2026 through July 31st, 2031 as follows. 2026, $222.50 a ton. 2027, $229.18 a ton. 2028, $236.05 a ton. 2029, $243.13 a ton. To 2030, $250.43 per ton.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. For the record, that's significantly cheaper than the other bids.
But still $100 a ton more than last year,
Yeah,
or the last time.
as
I
all
asked this-
prices seem to be.
I asked the same question as to why Graymont wasn't here, and apparently Mark informs me they chose not to bid on the work. So I guess the price of quicklime has gone
They
up so
cho-
high.
They no longer participate in bidding in general.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Next, we have authorization to award bid to SLC Excavating LLC for the Rockburn Park Improvements Project in an amount not to exceed $382,033.39.
This is Charles, so moved.
Second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Next, we have conditional use 2026-0002, Sheets Incorporated, 405 Memory Lane.
We just concluded earlier a public hearing on this particular project for the Sheets rebuild of they have an existing convenience store there now. They're looking to do what we characterize as scraping rebuild, take down all the things that are on the site, and then build a new store and with new gas pumps and so forth. I'm not sure what else I need to say at this point, except that we did have the public hearing. We are now potentially taking action on the project. We do have the attorney representing the client as well as the engineer here as well. So with that said, I'll turn it back to the board chair.
All right, so we heard reasoning and asked questions on the 6 requested modifications, actually 4 modifications and 2 waivers. Is that correct?
That is how it's listed in my case summary.
Yes.
So I would surmise that that's how we want to identify them.
So we discussed service and loading areas to be screened, and that they would want to have behind the building for product to be delivered to the store, and looking for 2 loading areas instead of 1. Also, the second modification is service and loading areas shall be located on the side or rear of the building. Difficult on that parcel to be able to do that, looking to have the gas tankers come to where the tanks are, which is in the front of the building that is facing Industrial Highway, I believe.
Yes.
So that's the reason for that modification request. We've had some discussion about pole signs and whether a monument or pole sign would be the right solution. We can have some discussion on that. Parking facilities only to the rear or side. There are 2 front yards, so it is rather difficult to get all of the parking to conform to that. So that is a requested modification. There are some challenges with setback on the one side of the facing Memory Lane that require a number of parking spots to encroach upon a setback. And then Public Plaza, this store is smaller than the number of square feet that require a public plaza, and therefore they're asking for a waiver from that. Do I have that all outlined pretty correctly?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, are there any items on here that we take any exception to, and I want to have further discussion? Anything?
I'm fine with it as is.
I'm sorry?
George is fine with it as is. Charles was nodding that he is fine with it as is.
Okay. I am as well.
I would just like to make sure that I understand the process here, because what we're doing is just the conditional use, which means that if there was any modification or waiver here that we denied, can that come back to us in land development? Or do they have to get what they need now to move forward?
Well, I don't want to speak for the applicant in that regard. You can certainly approve and deny each of the waivers and modifications individually. And then when the land development submission comes through, that may or may not be acceptable to what they're trying to accomplish. But Attorney Heinz, do you want to come up and address Mr. Bishop's question?
Yeah, and if I understand the question correctly, but I think, yeah, the reason we went this route is because these are requirements in the zoning ordinance related to the conditional use approval in the town center overlay. The conditional use approval, it has to go through this process. Before the board, before we even get to the land development submission. So if we don't get these waivers now, we'd have to proceed with the design and the land development plan, design it in accordance with whatever waiver we don't get or modification that we don't get, if we wanted to go that route, if they were still willing to move forward. But if that wasn't done now, if it's not done now, we'd have to go through this process again later on. Like, we can't get these waivers just through the land development process. You have to do this first because it's in the zoning ordinance. So that's why we proceeded in this fashion to get the conditional use at this time.
Does that answer, Attorney Heinz, and my answer address your question? Because I don't know what your land development plan looks like, so that's what I'm saying.
Right, the land development plan is going to be based on whatever relief we get tonight.
Yes.
And depending on what that relief is, if it's not enough, then maybe they don't proceed. But you know, the land development is going to be based on what's tonight. This issue on these waivers isn't going to come up during that land development process. If that's the question, it's got to be done now, or we'd have to design it to not need these, which I don't know whether they would move forward at that point. So.
Okay. As my mother used to say, that's clear as mud. It's not your fault. I'm fine. I agree with the rest of the board.
Thank the authors of the MPC.
Yeah, but there will be a whole nother land development process that's going to come on after this, where we're talking about all of the other things that are not being addressed here, like landscaping or stormwater control or all that other aspect.
We move to the saldo at that point in time.
Yeah.
But we don't get another bite at the sign apple.
Not at the issue in play, there being a pole sign versus a monument sign. No.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, with everything being clear as mud, do I have a motion to that effect?
So just so we're all clear on what you're doing, you're going to go through. You can do all the waivers and modifications first, and then you go to the actual conditional use approval. So two separate. Okay.
Right.
Yep.
So I'm looking for a motion on the, 6, there's 4 modifications and 2 waivers as listed above first.
Mr. Chairman, relative to conditional use 2026-0002, I move to grant the following waivers or modifications. Section 325, 200D2, service and loading areas must be visibly screened. The applicant proposes a modification to allow 2 loading areas for the project. Section 325, 200D3, service and loading areas shall be on the side or rear of the building. Applicant has proposed a modification, has been requested to allow service and loading areas to be in the front yard of the site. Section 325, 200E2, pole signs are prohibited. Applicant has proposed a modification to move their existing and redesign their existing pole sign. Section 325, 200G5, parking facilities shall be permitted only to the rear or side of the principal structure. Applicant has a modification that has been requested to allow parking in the front yard. Section 325, 200K, storage, parking, or display of vehicles in front yard setback shall be prohibited. Waiver has been motioned for approval to allow parking in the front yard setback. And Section 325, 204, public plazas, we are motion to grant a waiver of requiring a public plaza for this applicant, given that they do have outdoor seating already proposed.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next.
Mr. Chairman, relative to conditional use, let's scroll back up. Conditional use 2026-0002, I recommend approval, or I move for approval of the conditional use subject to the previously approved waivers and modifications.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Gentlemen? Any communication from supervisors this evening?
Just one update from Yalfer at this most recent meeting. It was unanimously determined or decided to move forward with an engagement with RKL to do a calculation of what the correct apportionment figure should be for the 3 participating municipalities. It was also agreed to split that cost of that engagement a third to each municipality. The only sticking point at this point is it's still to be determined how to fund that, because Yalfer's budget did not have that item in for this year's budget. There may not be enough funds in the budget to cover that, so it may require, at worst, an additional contribution from each municipality equal to their share of the fee in order to fund that, but that's to be determined in the future.
Shouldn't RKL decide the cost share? Just saying.
Hey, we got to.
Run. If RKL can figure that out up front, maybe we don't need the report.
That's what I was thinking. Anybody else? All right, we're on the solicitor's report. James?
Nothing to add in my report unless there's any questions from the board.
Anything? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark, manager's report.
The only thing I'll add to my written report was earlier today, we had our closeout meeting on the RACP grant. through their audit process, we passed that, if you will, so the remaining $87,500 will be coming our way in the near future.
Sometime within the next 5 years.
I think it'll be much quicker than that, but that's all I have.
That's good. Yeah, appreciate the staff
Yeah, absolutely.
running that down and taking care of dotting all the i's and crossing all the t's to get that done. It's been a long journey, but we've got this to show for it. So
Yeah, and they did do a lot of work. Yes.
any questions for the manager? Ordinances and resolutions. Resolution 2026-41, recognition of David Helsel.
I'll move for the adoption of that resolution.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Resolution 2026-42, recognition of Paula Musselman.
Also
This
move
is
for the
Charles. I
adoption of that
recommend
resolution.
approval of this resolution for Paula.
Two
Second.
motions and a second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Resolution number 2026-43, authorization to apply for a statewide local share assessment grant for Harvest Hill and Augustus Schaefer Park shade units in an amount of $28,271.60.
Mr. Chairman, this is a redo of an earlier resolution. Upon further review by the state grant reviewer, our original grant request was less than the minimum of $25,000. So we went back and got a new estimate on the shade sales and added a few park benches in those parks.
The vendor agreed to that?
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Charles, I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution number 2026-44, authorization to submit application for PA Department of Conservation and Natural Resources grant for the Springettsbury Township and Friends of Camp Security Project and designating township manager as authorized signatory for all grant documents.
Mr. Chairman, during the camp security master plan project, it was suggested that Friends of Camp Security develop a succession plan. And there is grant funds available to do that. The township has to be, a municipality has to be the grant applicant. So that's what this is for, is to apply for the grant.
How much are we asking for?
Not, do you remember, Brandy?
The maximum amount of the grant can be $18,000. However, our contribution maximum is $1,800.
90%.
It's good.
This won't just be the succession planning, it also allows us to have a working operating agreement between ourselves
And the friends.
Discussion? Do I hear a motion?
I move for approval of Resolution 2026-44 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any discussion under old business for sidewalks at 11th Avenue and Whiteford Road. All right. No new business. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.